Welcome to Money, Manifestation, and Business, the podcast that shows you how to use your energy, intention, and consciousness to reprogram your money mindset, unleash a new level of possibility, and create a life and business that lights you up. I'm your host, Jamie Berman, and I invite you to join me each week for a dose of inspiration, coaching, and teachings to help you rewrite your money story, create abundance on your terms, and grow your business in a way that's fully aligned for you. This is going to be so much fun. Let's dive in. Today's episode is going to be a little different. It is a coaching session between me and one of my clients, Crystal. So every couple of episodes, I am going to put out a one-on-one, unedited coaching session between me and someone in my community. And that might be a client of mine who I've known for years, or it might be someone who's been following me for a while who I've never met. So my intention for these episodes is not only to help the person that I'm on the call with to create a shift that's going to help them expand into where they want to go, but it's also to offer coaching to you. Because something magical happens when we listen to other people getting coached. Sometimes it allows us to get coached on an even deeper level just by listening, because you might really resonate with what you are hearing. And through the coaching that I offer to that individual, you will also receive coaching and hopefully receive some shifts. So in this episode, we talk about some of those beliefs that have been brought to the surface, like big money isn't for me. And making big money is really hard and takes a lot of time and effort and energy, and is just not for someone like me. She was thinking it was just for lucky people. So you know what I did? I got in there and I challenged every single one of those beliefs. And after doing so, we uncovered what was really at the root of her inability to expand beyond a certain level in her business. And it was a belief that she'd been carrying around since she was 7 years old. A belief that people don't want to be around me. We explored that further, and Crystal came up with her own ways of healing this belief that you're going to hear inside of the coaching session. So this is going to be really helpful for you if you are someone who feels like big money isn't for someone like you, or thinks that it's going to take a lot of time and energy and effort in order to create it. Or if you're in business and believe on some level that people don't want to be around you, or they don't want what you have to offer. Tune into this episode and receive coaching for yourself. I hope you enjoy. Hi, Crystal. What would you like coaching on today?
Okay, so I'm really excited for this because we did a month in the money manifestation movement on big money. And I was able to, I did a lot of journaling that month and kind of was like, okay, well, why does big money feel like this? So big money to me feels like hard, like it takes a long time, like it takes a lot of effort. And so then as I started to dig into that more, I realized that underneath that belief, it was actually like, because it won't happen. Not just that it's like hard work or going to take a long time, but like even if I was able to somehow do enough hard work over time, which I have done a lot of hard work over a long time, that it still wouldn't happen. And I think probably the underlying belief is something like big money isn't for me. Like there's like people that it's for and people that it's not for, or something like babies that are born that are like here in this line versus this line or something. And so I know that logically that doesn't make sense. Like I don't believe that logically, but whenever I think about like large amounts of money, like making, $1 million or more a year, not just in my business, but like in anything in life, that's what I think of.
Okay. Yeah. So what is it that you think is so special about $1 million that like isn't attainable, or is for some and not others?
I think maybe I would have had to start like a long time ago, like already known that I wanted that much money or something. Because like in the beginning, before I did life coaching, we just had kind of like normal lives and a normal house and normal I mean, I've never really had normal aspirations, but like somewhat normal. So I don't think I really thought about it that much. So then when I started asking myself, like, what do I really want? And it doesn't even have to be a million, but like I do want
Yeah.
more for sure.
Yeah.
Then I feel like almost like it's too late. Like it's just
Okay.
going to take so many years if I started now. And I don't
Mm.
want it to take so many years and I don't want it to take so much work. And so it just feels like unattainable because of the stage of my life that I'm in now. And maybe if I'd started my business like 20 years ago or something.
Okay. Because your belief is it takes time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why you're like, well, if your belief, like it's like you were truly believing that it takes time.
Yeah.
So your brain's like, well, if it takes all this time to make $1 million, or we'll just say big money, whatever that is,
Yeah.
like, well, I had to start really, really, really early.
Yeah, for sure. And I think even like if I went less than a million, like I've thought about like, well, how much money do I really want? Because I don't want to be like a giant CEO running this huge company and all these different things. And I'm like, well, even like having like a take home of like 300 to 500,000 a year after all of my other things, I feel like that would be awesome. And even that feels like, well, yeah, that's maybe attainable, but it'll take like 5 to 10 years.
Okay. Yeah.
Or longer.
So,
or maybe never.
Yeah. Where does that belief come from for you? Like sometimes I like to go into my belief system and check in like, I wonder where I picked that up from just out of pure curiosity. Do you know where you picked up the belief that it takes time to make big money?
Yeah. So in my home, my dad was a high school teacher and there was 8 kids and my mom was a stay-at-home mom. And I definitely picked up the belief that money is hard, like not only like hard to get, but then hard to keep also. And some of like money isn't the most important thing, right? There's other important things. So we don't even need to like, it's okay that we're never going to have enough money or something along those lines.
Okay. Yeah. So it makes so much sense, right? Because that's what you saw. And a lot of our money beliefs we pick up by the time we're like 9 years old, right? Our conscious brain isn't even formed, but we see the world around us. We see what's going on with whether it's our parents or our community or whatever, like whatever we see, we kind of take that in as that's the truth. And that's what it is. So it makes sense if you're a teacher, right? And that's your only source of income, that it would take time. And that's okay, right? There's a lot of teachers that save their money over time and end up retiring really, really well. I know several of them, but you're not a teacher.
Yeah.
And it's not what you want. You don't want it to take a lot of time. And it doesn't have to. So you're looking at one example, but what I would get curious about is like start focusing on and getting curious about, have I ever seen anyone who has made a lot of money that hasn't taken a lot of time?
Because I think when you say that, like when you started talking about time and money, I was thinking, yeah, I think I know a lot of people who kind of wait until they're retired to have their money. Do you know what I mean? And it's almost like it's not that it's over then, but like even other families that I know, family members that I know are like, well, when I'm retired, then I'll have this money. And I'm like, but that's not when I want it. I mean, of course I want it then too, but like I want these things sooner than that. And I know it's possible because I've seen other people, I think since I've been in the life coaching world, I've seen it happen in the life coaching world. But I don't know, but I still think of like, besides life coaching, like it takes a long time to become a doctor or a dentist or a lawyer, or I don't know, all of the jobs that seem to make the most money take the longest time to like attain also.
But you have to also remember, Crystal, your job isn't your only channel of making money too. So there are other channels that you can create money through.
Right. Yeah. And I think I have known a lot of people who just like happen to be in the right housing market at the right time or the right investment. Like we've had investments that we didn't think were going to do really well. And then all of a sudden they did really well. So I do see that those things are possible, but they seem a little bit more like out there. Like, okay, yeah, every once in a while that might happen. But I think that's like the more of the luck of it, right? It's like every once in a while there's people that happen to do that, but that's not like the norm.
Okay. Yeah. And that's just your thought that it's just not the norm. right? You're
Yeah.
choosing to believe that that's not normal. It's not normal for me. It couldn't be normal. Maybe it would be a fluke. Maybe if I hit some luck, then it would happen.
Yeah.
Versus I'm the creator and I can actually create this energetically, which of course, like our brain is like, what are you talking about? That's not what we learn. How do you like create money through energy?
Yeah,
right?
my brain goes
Your brain is like, no,
it's just luck.
it's
just
luck. It takes time.
It.
It takes effort, right? That's what your brain is just believing. But if you think about it, I mean, think about millionaires in the world. If it took time, if time equaled money, wouldn't we all make the same amount of money? Because we all pretty much are like have, give or take, our lifespans are on average about the same.
Yeah.
So why is it that some people are making millions, billions, and then others are making minimum wage? If it's time that equates how much money is created.
Right. Yeah, because I think of like, it's because they're just not working enough, but there's plenty of people that are working probably 12, 14, 16 hours a day that still aren't making a lot of money.
Yeah. I think about my past self who I think I worked the hardest when I was younger, right? I worked retail. I worked several jobs. I was a babysitter.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was starting my business. I was making the least amount of money and working the hardest because I was making a minimum wage.
Yeah.
So we want to look at that. Is it effort and is it time that creates money? Because if it were, I would have been rich because I have worked a lot in my life. I started when I was 11. I'm not kidding.
I did too. I had like a paper route when I was like 10, and then I started babysitting when I was 11, and I worked, I always worked. I worked at Tim Hortons. I worked 3 waitressing jobs. I was constantly working when I was a youth and definitely didn't make big money.
Yeah, so interesting. But your brain is still kind of committed to believing that it's the amount of time or effort you put in. But what I would get curious is, if that's maybe not the case, I wonder what it might be. Like, what is it that allows some people to create $1 billion in this lifetime while others don't live off of much? It's like, what's the difference?
Yeah. And I think that's when my brain goes back to like, oh, well, then it must just be luck. It must just be like that baby machine where when babies are born, it's like, this is one section and this is another section. And so big money must not be for me or I would already have it.
Why would you have it?
Because I've put in a lot of time and I've put in a lot of effort.
See, that's the thing is your brain is still equating it to time, but it's obvious it's not time. So that's what we're like, let's just release that. Are you open to getting curious and just being like, what if I release that belief just for this session, just while we're exploring? Right. Would it be okay to set that belief on the side? Because I'm kind of seeing that's not actually true. That it hasn't been my effort and it hasn't been my time. If I put that on the side, if we were if it was like proven that that's not even it.
Okay.
And it's not luck. Let's put that on the side too. Then what might it be?
Oh, I don't even know. I'm trying to think about like my business and how I've made money in my business. If it wasn't time or luck or effort, what created it? I mean, definitely having like connections with people and definitely putting value in the world for sure. And probably energy, like my own energy, that other people are connected to. I'm going to
take this. Right. Just to look at this, I want to take, cause your niche is working with parents, right?
Yeah.
So imagine a parent came to you and said, well, a good relationship with kids and conscious parenting is something that you either have or you don't. Right? It's just for lucky people. Yeah. What would you say to what creates that? Because it's going to be the same thing that creates that creates money. So what is it that creates a great relationship with your children? Or
it's actually not time. I tell people that all the time. I'm like, it's not how much time you spend with your kids. I think it is like connection. It's the connection that you have with them and the energy that you're putting into that relationship and also to the relationship with yourself. And as you start to heal the relationship with yourself and with your kids, it doesn't have anything to do with the time. Like I could spend no time with my kids that day and still have a great relationship with my kids.
Interesting.
Yeah. But not money. That's only in relationships.
Right? But because your brain is just committed to thinking that time and effort creates money. But it's almost like you'd be arguing that it's time and effort that creates a good relationship. What would you say to someone
totally
who
isn't? Like I work with people for like 12 weeks or less, and even in way less than 12 weeks, they've changed their relationship with their kids. Like it really isn't the amount of time or hard work that gets there.
Yes. Yes. So our relationship with money is, I mean, it literally responds in the same way that like money responds to us in the same way a relationship with a human responds, right? It's all about the way that we think about it, the way that we feel about it, the way we treat it and behave with it.
Right.
Same with our businesses. Like it's like it responds. It's like its own energy and it responds to us the same way a relationship does. Like a human.
Yeah, that's interesting because I tell people instead of trying to spend more time with your kids, it's noticing what are your thoughts and your feelings about you and your parenting and your children. And if you were to spend that amount of time on that, it would actually be a lot more effective than like more time. Yeah, maybe I haven't spent enough time doing that with big money. Like I've done that with money at some like on some level for sure, where I'm like comfortable with it and feel like I'm good with money now, more so than in the past. But I don't think I've necessarily done that with my relationship with like bigger amounts of money.
Okay. Yeah. And that's the opportunity.
Tell me what your thoughts are about your big money then. What are you like now? What are your thoughts about it?
My thoughts about big money? I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think of it as big money. So that's the first thing. I'm not like, it's this big, scary thing. It's just like neutral. It's just like, it's money. And I imagine myself as magnetic to it. Money just keeps coming in, but I don't really see it as big money.
Yeah, because I feel like with big, then it's like this big scary goal. Like I hated the idea of like impossible goals because I was just like, well, then it's always impossible. Like, why would you, or even like 75 hard? I'm like, why would you go at 75 hard? Like nobody's going to accomplish it. Should be 75 easy.
Yes, call it 75 easy. Right? I love that. So what if it's like easy money and it just happens to be $1 million?
Yeah. Yeah. I actually think that's so funny because I've been doing all of my brainstorming on big money. Like, what do I think about big money and who am I with big money? And I think that's been helpful to uncover like where my blocks are. But I think one of the blocks might be even just what I think big money is, like that it does seem like a far away kind of bigger, unobtainable, scary thing.
Yes. Yes. Because I don't think of it differently. I think of manifesting $10 very similar to manifesting $100,000. Or $1 million. When we make it this like big scary thing, it's like, ooh, that's hard. That's different.
And I do think like I am good at manifesting just like small little amounts of money like that come and I'm just like, oh, look, see, it's like working. And like that amount I feel like isn't scary, but there's some number that I do feel like is, and I don't even know what that number is, that I feel like is bigger or scary or unobtainable.
Okay. What number do you think that is? Like, what do you believe you could make? And then what's the edge?
I don't even know because I make my money with my husband. And so like, if I was the only one and it wasn't him and his side of our business at all, and it was only me and my side of my business, then like any amount of money seems scary, which is so funny because I've made money before, but like, I don't know, even making like 100,000 or 200,000 or 300,000 already seems like big.
What's scary about it?
I think the underlying belief is that it won't happen, is that I can't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about you, I'm just wondering because you're like, it's scary. That's different than I can't.
I think it's probably more I can't. Like, I think when I think of like why it's scary, it's because like it won't happen.
So what's scary about it then?
I guess the failure. I think just like wanting it and planning on it and taking time and effort to like be working on my thoughts and feelings about it and then making like less money than I made last year or not making any money or something.
Yeah. What would you make that mean about you?
That people didn't want what I have to offer, or that it wasn't valuable, or not even that it isn't valuable, but like something about me.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are you attaching money to? Is it your worth?
Yeah. I think like, I'm just thinking about like people that I see on Instagram that have like a lot of followers or seem to be making a lot of money, that like there must be something about them that I don't have or something.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I'm sure people feel that same way about me also. But in my mind, I'm like, okay, no, it's like that it's like not working for me because I say the same things that other people say. And I'm like, well, I'm not making as much money. I don't even know how much money these people are making. This is just my brain thoughts. But
Yeah.
yeah, that it's like not, that people don't want it from me.
So good to recognize that, because that's probably what you like, the opportunity for healing around this
Mm-hmm.
is your thoughts about yourself.
Yeah.
Because what you're doing is you're like, I'm scared to even go after $300,000 because if it didn't happen, it would just prove this belief that I already have about myself and it would sting really hard.
Yes, this is also equivalent to parenting because I teach this concept called personalization, which is making your children's behavior mean something about you and like your worth and your
Yeah.
value. And I'm like doing the same
Yes.
thing with my business and money.
Yes. You've got that connected,
Mhm.
which is probably why it feels harder. It doesn't feel as easeful because we can kind of unconsciously become attached to it
Yeah.
if we are making it mean something about us because we really want to believe this thing about us. And we're like, oh, it would take me making money to really, really solidify that belief about myself. So then we like go for money because we want to
Yeah.
believe these nice things about ourselves. But you could really just decide to believe those about yourself now. And the truth is that work is so important because you absolutely can and will grow to 300K a year, but that belief won't change if you don't change it now. Like hitting a certain income goal isn't going to change the way that you think about yourself.
Yeah.
So you'll get to 300K and you'll be like, well, there's something missing about me until I get to 1 million. Then, because there's other people that make 1 million, then
Yeah.
I could believe people want my stuff.
And it's funny too, because I feel like I've done so much of this work in the parenting sphere of like separating myself and my value. And I feel
Mhm.
I just like love myself no matter how I show up in parenting. Like just literally like 110% every single day. I love myself in parenting. And so I'm like,
Yeah.
what do I have to do here? Like I thought I already I thought I already worked on my relationship with myself. But yeah, but there must be something still kind of connected there about worth and how much money I'm making or how successful I am in my business.
Right. And the good thing is when you've already done that work on another area, it's like you can kind of transfer, you know, the route. There's still work to
Yeah.
do in another area. And that's why, like, I think it's amazing. We're always evolving. There's always going to be the next evolution of us. So it's just deepening that relationship. It's not like you don't have a great relationship with yourself, but it's like, ooh, this is the next layer, which is me developing the relationship that with myself that I want, specifically around business and
Mhm.
money
Yeah.
and how I think about myself and how I think about what people want from me. And when you do that work, that's where making money becomes very easy.
I do think it does go down to some sort of belief about like me and other people and my value and how they perceive it. And
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely think there's like some connection there, which probably I haven't noticed before.
Yeah. Yes. So let's just imagine that, like, let's just pretend for a second that was completely gone. You didn't have the belief, like, it just dissolved from your consciousness. You didn't have a belief that, like, it's hard to get people on board or people, I don't know what exactly. Is it like people, it's hard to get people on board or is it, it's
No,
hard
I
to
think it's like
attract
me and
people?
people, like they don't want it from me. Like there's something wrong with
Okay.
me
Yeah.
or they don't want to be
Okay.
around me. Yeah.
They don't want it from me. Okay, let's say that's completely dissolved from your consciousness. this thought. They don't want it from me.
Well, I know it's not true because I get messages from people being like, your podcast is so helpful. Like, thank you so much
Right.
for putting this out there. So I don't think they think that. I think I probably think that about me.
Right. No, for sure. They don't think that. It's just something that's like, it's a thought in your brain. Is it more around connected to money? Like they don't want to pay for it?
I don't know if it's that they don't want to pay for it or they just like don't want to be around me. Like it almost feels like a little child at the playground. Like they don't want to play with me. Like, you know, like it's something about me because I'm saying the same message that other people are saying. And I know that I help people through the transformation that they want. But I think it is something like, I don't think it's that. I think it's like something deeper about me.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably is your inner child.
Yeah. I'm like, well, the thought that keeps coming up is like, they don't want to play with me. And I'm like, even though that doesn't seem connected to money, but yeah.
Yeah. What would I'm just curious, like what age do you think that version of you is that's saying that?
I feel like
to touch in on that.
Oh, I don't know why I'm getting so teary about this, but I feel like it feels like it goes back to like 7-ish. And it literally does feel like on the playground or something, like somewhere outdoors. Where I must have had some experience, I guess, that made me feel that way. And like they want to play with other people and be around other people.
And that 7-year-old just hasn't been healed yet.
Yeah.
So you're just still carrying her with you, right? And she's still talking and she's like, there's still people that don't want to play with you. They don't want to be around you. There's something wrong. It's a 7-year-old talking. If you could go back in time and talk to that 7-year-old, what would you want to tell her?
Just how amazing and wonderful she is. And that other people just have their own things going on, that it's not about her. Yeah. And that she's just like full of magic.
Yes. Yeah. And that might be something you want to continue to remind her of, because she's going to be with you. What's magic about her?
Just everything. I think that little children are just magical. Like I look at my 7-year-old and she just like dances and doesn't care what people think about her. She just says whatever she wants to say and runs around and plays and literally just dances like on the beach, like so carefree.
I love it. What's magical about about your 7-year-old you?
I think that she's just so full of wisdom, kindness, love, like her own inner magic. Yeah, she's just like perfect and whole.
I think it's time to start seeing that within yourself.
Yeah. I've done so much inner child work and I'm like, no, I've healed my inner child. Apparently it's a lifelong process. Like I tell people, there'll be things that pop up all the time. But
right? No.
Yeah, I think it is because it's not just money. It's like the amount of followers, the amount of things on my email list, or like, I don't know, just all the little like numbers mean that people don't want what I have to offer. But I think the deeper belief definitely is like they don't want to play with me, apparently.
Yes. So I think that's the opportunity for healing here. That's it. Is to start recognizing your magic and start recognizing the magic in that 7-year-old and acknowledging that's still in you. That magic is there, and start acknowledging that like daily, like what is special about me? That would be a great question to ask yourself like daily. What is special about me? And then to start looking for evidence of how people are totally magnetized to you. People want to be around you, and I would start in your evidence journal looking for evidence of that every day.
Yeah. And I think like one of the questions you had asked was like, what if you didn't have that belief anymore? And like, if I didn't have this belief that people didn't want to be around me or whatever, and I didn't have a belief about money being connected to myself, then I just don't think I would care so much about money. Like, not that I wouldn't be going after goals, but like it just doesn't feel like it would have so much of an attachment. Like how much money I made in that month wouldn't matter ever.
Yeah. What do you think would happen if you had no attachment to it? Like if it didn't, of course you have the desire and you're going to be creating it, but it didn't mean anything about you. You really let go of that and you saw the magic in yourself. And you really release that belief that people don't want to be around you, and you let go of that tie, that connection to, money meaning something about you. And you release that. You didn't care as much. What would be different in your business? Like, how would you approach it differently, or how would you approach money differently?
Well, I have a new program that I'm just launching right away, like in a week or so. And I think I have tied a lot of I think it feels heavy, like when I think about selling it or talking about it. And I don't think it would feel heavy. I think it would just be I actually think I would talk about it more than I am right now. And I think I would talk about it more boldly, because I think part of it is just what if they don't like it or disagree with me or something, But if I was just completely detached from that, I think I would be a lot more bold in how I speak about it. And just messaging people about it and not feeling like I was bothering them. Right. But this is, this is what I have to offer or something, and not feeling so tied to the result that people come purchase it.
Isn't that fascinating? Because what do you think would happen if you approached it from that way and you really released that belief? What do you think would be different?
Well, I joined your program not because I thought the information was awesome, but because of the energy. I was I know that this is the energy that I need to create more money. And it didn't have anything, I don't even know if I knew what your program was offering when I was yep, I'm going to do it, which is so funny because I remember going to one of the first few calls with you, and I didn't even say that, but somebody else vocalized that. They were just I just knew that this is the energy, I just needed this energy. And I just thought, yeah, they bought it because of your energy, not because of we don't even care. We're oh, when are we meeting? Okay, cool. And yeah, I think it would be more like that. It would just be them connected to that's the energy that I want with that specific, parenting issue or whatever. And
yes,
they wouldn't care how it was being, I'm always thinking about how many calls and what layout and all of the details of it. But I don't think it would matter so much about that.
Yes. Yes. Because when your energy is healed within yourself, people can feel that, right? When I really think when we have this belief, no one wants to be around me, we kind of block ourselves because of the way that we show up when we're believing that. But when you stop believing that, you get to let all of your light and magic out, which, oh my God, Crystal, you have so much. You have so much of that. I mean, we all do, but you're so gifted and there's so much to share. And I think as you let go of that, it's just going to be unleashed in a whole new level. I can see it. I can see it.
Oh, thank you.
You got it. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you so much.
I'm curious. Yes. What is there a practice that you want to do or something that is coming to mind that you think would be helpful to lean into for this month?
Yeah. So I'm in a course right now where we're learning hypnotherapy. So I definitely think I'm going to do an inner child hypnotherapy on myself about one of those.
Yes.
But I think in the morning, right now I do meditation, visualization, and thought work journaling. And so I think I want to do it around this, how to detach myself from that. Cause I feel I always use the word enmeshed when we're connected to our, that relationship with our kids. So I think it's discovering that, what is that enmeshment there and what am I making it mean about me and how can I separate that? And then working on those beliefs about myself, those deep down, I am full of magic and light and wonder and all of that. All of the beliefs that I wish I could have told that little 7-year-old self. Yes. Whenever I cry, I know that it's the belief. I'm oh yeah, we got there.
Yes. So good. I'm so excited for you, Crystal. It's going to be a game changer. Oh, and it's just filled with so much love. I love it. And you've done it in one area of your life, so you can absolutely do it in another. So good. You got the path. Yeah. Thank you, Crystal. Can't wait to see you fly. Hey, thanks for listening. I hope this episode is something that you'll be able to add to your manifestation toolbox to come back to when you need a little extra motivation. If you like what you've heard today and want to take it deeper, you've got to come check out my signature coaching program, the Money Manifestation Movement. It's the place where you'll not only learn manifestation, but you'll begin to live it alongside me and an amazing community of like-minded entrepreneurs doing this work together. Head on over to jamieberman.com to learn more.